KNYOLP Fort Bragg. Hold on just a minute. I've got Zeke Kralin on the phone here, and let me just turn your microphone up. And what were you saying just a moment ago before I so rudely interrupted you?
Yeah, I love Tom's enthusiasm, and I come from a long history of the early years of computers, and I was part of the computer underground and the Linux scene and the Unix scene. So I just love listening to people who can talk about things related to computer technology and innovation and how it impacts society. What years
were you involved in computers, and you were talking about the projects that you mentioned?
Well, I first got into computers in 1984. I was a teacher's aide going for my master's in special education in Santa Cruz County. And the school I was going to were mainstreaming young mentally disabled adults into Aptos High School. And they had a computer program which they were not part of. And I thought, well, I told teacher Shirley, if I take some classes on computers or learn them good enough, maybe we can get them in there. So that's what I did and got them in there. And with all the cutbacks under President Carter, of major cutbacks on disability funds, including wage and hiring freezes in my field, then I had to switch another field. So I went back up to San Francisco and took I had taken 2 courses at Cabrillo College on computers, and I loved it. And I hated them before then. Introduction to databases and introduction to personal computers was an early Apple II or something. Ooh, I hate Apple brand. But so then I went up and took a computer class. Got a job doing computer input. I think it was a Victor system for a real estate guy. Well, he was a real jerk, and then I got a next job on data entry and from people's scripts for the scheme of things. It was a show for a series for Disney Cable, and I learned more about computers there. And they kept having to call in a maintenance person. The computer kept going down at a certain point, and I came up to the guy. I said, "Can I look at not the user manual, the technical manual?" He said, "Sure." And there was one line that said, "If such and such happens, make sure you do this, and it'll be fine." So I said, "Have you tried this out?" And he goes, "No, let me see." And it worked fine. And I went and told the one of the officials above me that we don't need him anymore. He was creating that and leaving it there so you'd call him back. And then I just went up from there, and I got my first computer, compact luggable, in '85. It was I don't remember how, 23 pounds, maybe even 42. It was heavy.
What kind of computer was that?
A compact, called the compact.
Yeah. I had a compact later on. My first computer was an Osborne.
Well, I
still have it. I have my Osborne.
Oh, that's neat that you've held on to it.
Yeah.
Mine got stolen, but it's funny what happened there. But anyway, I started writing my stories on it, and then, it got stolen, but I was insured, and it turned out the insurance money came in the right time, so I could afford to fly out to D.C. to stand by my Randolph, who did a suicide attempt in front of the Vietnam Memorial and survived in '85.
Did you tell me that he shot himself in the heart?
He aimed at the heart. It went around the heart, large in the shoulder blade.
Oh.
It's all in chapter 1 of my book, Free Me from This Bond.
Yeah. So he's dead now, right? Because he's dead of old age.
Well, supposedly. I have no actual evidence, and his funeral was announced a year before I got another death notice, and I figured out it was a fake, it was a lie to throw me off ground. Somehow, when I reached out to Randolph, flew over there, I got in the news, and somehow I also picked up some enemies on the way. And they've been hounding me ever since, and it's in my book too. It's a secret society, but I began to realize they're not bad people. They're good people, and the evil things they do are faked. And to see how I deal with it, and in dealing with it, was an opportunity for me to take the hero's path instead of any other, and I got it figured out. So, Yeah, I've been having, every day's been absolutely incredible for me for almost 3 weeks now since it was all triggered when Larkin did that crazy number on me. You know, it was such a fucking sweet, funny thing to do, and you know, that was his way of proposing to me. I already proposed to him about 2.5 years ago. It was so damn hilarious. I said, I was slightly drunk. I woke up to him and said, marry me, Larkin. I'm tired of sucking strange dick. And he said, wait, that's a lie. I love sucking strange dick. I'll never get tired of it. I just love to make him laugh. I made him laugh so hard, you know.
But he didn't take you up on it. He just did. The things that you write, I don't think from an outside. Are you aware that from an outside viewer's perspective, it doesn't look like he's liking you very much?
Well, that is how he plays it, and how I'm playing it on the story. Either some people think I'm just totally nuts, but it's a good writing, good story, but I'm totally nuts and totally deluded. Or am I right? That's the character I play.
Okay, I get it.
But Larkin put me into that. And from what I say, the claims I say about him aren't something anyone can understand unless they actually went into depth and went along with me for the last several years at least in my tales. So there's no way, I'm not here to convince anyone. I know what I'm doing.
The story that you're going to read is the Mickey Mouse virus. Is that the right one?
The Mighty Mouse virus.
Mighty Mouse virus. I'm sorry. Would you read that story now? Could you do that?
Yes. Okay. And you can stop me at any time.
No, I don't know. I'm imagining it's going to take about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. You just go ahead and read the whole thing up.
Okie doke. Security matters and antimatters, or the Mighty Mouse virus. From Homo, H-O-M-O, to Bug, B-U-U-G. Subject, security matters and antimatters. Speaking as a recently officialized highest order meat space orifice, or Homo, I realize it is time for me to present a blueprint before assuming my newly assigned duties as stool pigeon extraordinaire. As you know, the theme of my blueprint is gay or queer liberation, in such a way as to benefit all other oppressed people. Once everyone on Earth learns to respect same-sex love for the decent alternative lifestyle it truly is, my love of the PC/hacker underground and or counterculture, along with handsome homeless intellectual renegades, obviously plays a major role in weaving this blueprint. Arg, such crap metaphor I couldn't resist. I will also very soon become intimately connected with government on all levels. This is in order to disseminate my Trojan horse meat hack. I have met many wonderful hackers in the East Bay who are some of the most patriotic and responsible folks I've ever met. So please consider contacting any of them if our government's electronic security is ever in danger, or in need of additional protection or repair, or more superb employees. They have nothing to hide. Their real names, email addresses, and meeting places are all up there on websites open to everyone. And I promise, whomever of these great patriots you hire will give you far more bang for the buck than you'd ever dream, far overmatching the excellent salary they'll surely receive for such valued and meritorious actions in the face of enemy fire. To get you started, just log on to the website of the hackers group I founded in January 2000, the Berkeley Unix User Group, BUUG.org. There we have links to other hacker-relevant websites, constantly updated calendar of events, and directions to all our meeting places. Please go through them instead of me from any further needs in the matter of U.S. electronic security, as I am already tremendously occupied with liberating our homosexual citizens, which in turn will make our great nation even greater. Sincerely, Ezekiel J. Kralin, gay activist, homeless advocate, U.S. patriot. End of my Trojan horse meat hack. Yes, sorry, I bow my head in shame. I am stuck with Windows, spelled W-I-N-D-O-Z-E. because I am a meat space hacker, not a cyberspace hacker, and thus must have a tighter interface with, quote, them, unquote, in order to let information pass through my intuitive AC-DC converter, analog country to digital country. You have no idea how much disdain and disgust I have for this filthiest of jobs. So I'll be so happy to finally put an end to this person's war, scrub myself down like an old ship with barnacles, and just hang with my best buddy, yours and ours, Commander-in-Chief Randolph Lewis Taylor, to whom I declare my entire life, not just website. Nonetheless, I'm proud to be a grunt and always will be proud. Without us digital to analog nodes who needed to excel in liberal arts, especially English, humanities, and anthropology, in order to facilitate our loyal cyber hackers, you digital geniuses would have a lot tougher row to hoe. But God has blessed you all for your most beautiful minds. But I digress. MMV, how does it work? I do not really know how I came up with this Mighty Mouse virus, or MMV, all caps, as I can't program worth a poop, or as I like to tell, I couldn't hack my way out of a virtual paper bag. But just the same, the code suddenly flowed through my fingertips with lightning speed to come up with this elegant, terse program that is less than 1,000 lines of code. The code is encrypted in clever prose disguised as a section called My Trojan Horse Meat Hack. I have no idea how my 22 lines of meat hack prose can be encoded into more than 900 lines of assembly or machine code. But that's not my department. I believe I created this on a purely intuitive level, as what I lack in hacking is more than made up for in psychic abilities, if you get my drift. So it came through me as a gift from God, not from science. Or perhaps better said, a perfect marriage of science and religion or spirit. So I don't have the skills to cipher my Trojan horse meat hack. I just know it's there in assembly or machine language, because my angels tell me that's what's up with MMV. In fact, they were the ones who told me to name it Mighty Mouse. And I know it's not a real virus, but a Trojan horse. It's just that to every man, a computer virus is any sort of program used to invade forbidden computer systems against the owner's knowledge and or will. What it usually does is destroy or steal or both, but is also used for spying purposes in free storage, as well as for hacker training and experimentation. My virus fits none of these categories. It is a healing virus of the greatest measure. Most folks rightfully dread computer viruses, but this will be the first virus that every citizen will literally pray for. Since once MMV makes a little nest on your hard drive and announces its presence with the Mighty Mouse theme song, by the way, it guards the security and privacy of your PC from anyone you do not wish to have access, including government, military, and corporate intrusion. Of course, the bigwigs will hire, quote, the best, unquote, hackers to come up with their own virus that will try to rid all systems everywhere of my MMV. But it will fail miserably, since MMV was smart enough to plant the thought of creating an enemy virus in their minds in the first place, and consequently clouded their thinking. And that puny enemy virus, the only virus that ever dared to challenge Mighty Mouse, will be forever remembered in the eternal hall of shame as the Mickey Mouse virus, or MMV, lowercase. Always lowercase, of course. The Mighty Mouse virus, MMV, downloads snapshots of your face 100 times per second, then looks for patterns in the facial muscles, which clearly indicate specific negative emotions, including intent to be violent, intent to inspire another to be violent, and if the person harbors any homophobia, and if so, to what degree, and so on. It scans each frame at 100 per second for those extra subtle muscular contractions or relaxations not apparent to the naked eye, but which provide clear markers to specific mood trends and even ideology. The virus uses the display's pixels as mini cameras to view your face and anything else within its visual range if need be. It also analyzes your iris pattern, breathing, voice waves, body gestures, and even odor, and it also gets your fingerprints off the keyboard with ultra-pressure-sensitive softbots. These are necessarily redundant backup tools to secure 100% accuracy each and every time, for all time, world without end. Amen. So I put God in the computer, or perhaps you'd like to call it ethics. All data shall be exposed to the light of day. All citizens of Earth may freely access any and all data from anywhere on the globe. This includes the banking records of governments and other bureaucracies, such as the military and corporate giants. Some will see me as the greatest American traitor to ever live, while others will see me as quite opposite, and therefore truthfully. At this time, when two opposing camps regarding what I am form, I believe my fantasy has me going into hiding at some extremely remote area with my loyal inner circle of soldiers, including our inventor himself, Randolph Lewis Taylor. MMV will examine all of these accounts and sort out the lies, then redistribute the wealth back to those whom these institutions were supposed to trust, ripped off. It will then eliminate the corporate system altogether, handing over ownership to all citizens of planet Earth. MMV will make sure that all wealth goes to the good of all people everywhere, and will aid those most in need first, then take it from there to the next most in need, and so on. MMV will give everyone on Earth a cost-free checking account with ample monthly funds to cover all basic needs, plus the amenities that make life worth living. It will sort through everyone's name on any electronic or magnetic medium that exists, the Internet, telephone companies, government offices, churches, secret societies, the whole enchilada. MMV will know for sure whenever you need more money deposited in your account, just by reading your face and its backup assurance quality checks and balances. MMV will provide for quality living to those citizens who remain unrecorded on any database or paper folder by using the new wealth generated by increased corporate taxes to cover their expenses. At this point, not a single human soul or any other being, living past and future as well as now, shall exist without a home in MMV's many-mansioned cyberspace. So firstly, MMV has already secured all forms of mass destruction weapons from ever going off again. They're all duds now, including not just the atomic weapons, but laser, microwave, sound, and biotechnological as well. Secondly, MMV will liberate and protect all gay people in the world, regardless of religious or atheist viewpoint imposed upon these long-suffering angels. This will be a worldwide revolution. Very exciting. Thirdly, MMV will then rapidly heal everyone else, freeing all oppressed folks from their yoke of unendurable hardship. And MMV will use the queer community through which to disperse its gifts to humanity. First, we will go to Africa. Since MMV can identify potentially dangerous sorts with highest alert for homophobes by using sophisticated sensory and analysis tools, he can just as readily identify potential allies. So MMV knows right away who he can and can't trust, just by slipping into your home or office PC or cellular phone or beeper or PDA and watching you for 10 seconds at longest. He will then assign to his most loyal soldiers the shared responsibility of gathering together all the incriminating evidence of our enemies that MMV will be dumping in our laps or laptops. This evidence can then be presented to the news media and agencies of law, though MMV can even take care of all that too, if such is ever requested, depending on the circumstances of each case, as separately reviewed by the virus. MMV will even alert you through your computer, phone, radio, or TV of any activities or words of any neighbor that indicate plans for your unhappiness in any way, and provide you with the necessary weapons to ensure your victory against all malicious predators. Those who continue to harbor malicious intentions towards anyone, for any reason, will be closely watched by MMV nanobots and not allowed ever to carry out any devious schemes. They will also have to wear a scarlet AO on their backs, ears, on their backs, cars, and homes. This being short for anal og. But MMV is also telepathic, or better said, mimics telepathy in a most effective way so as to forgo any more desire for real telepathy if such a thing could ever exist. Here's how MMV pulls this trick. He creates submicroscopic nanobots that travel in small invisible clouds. They can easily pass through any membranes or bones in the human body and infiltrate anyone's brain. They can leap faster than light from one brain to another and share information in either direction or both. They can even jump through wormholes, allow them to cross barriers in space and even time, as they telepathically unite two or more minds. This is how MMV protects its human allies from enemy attack and ensures our liberation, which will then ensure everyone else's. But MMV's nanobots are also divine healers. Like perfect surgeons in Fantastic Voyage, the nanobots go right to work, healing whatever parts of the citizen's mind, brain, and or body needs to be healed in the most gentle, loving manner possible. Some especially difficult cases, such as incurable homophobes and hetero child rapists, however, should experience some mild nausea, headache, and perhaps facial twitching during the transitional shift from Homo sapiens to Homo automata. You say automata, I say automato, which should take anywhere from 11 minutes to 17 days. After then, the crystallization process easily sets in as the DNA strands realign themselves for the rigors of immortality. The worst cases do not survive the transition and are simply discarded, tossed into the molecularizer. MMV is not limited to computer networks such as the Internet. He can jump from one electronic medium to another by vibrating part of a chip circuit at different rates in order to seek out infrared, microwave, radio, satellite, and antenna frequencies. If such are found, MMV jumps a replicate of himself over to these other mediums. Sometimes the chip is overheated and damaged in the process, in which case MMV repairs it himself with his always present angelic host of nanobots. So this is how MMV can infiltrate non-internet sources of communications, radio, television, satellite. He can announce his presence on any circuit he likes, whenever and wherever he wants. He can even pop my Zeke for Gay Prez 2020 banners all over the TV airwaves and cable, as well as on the web. He can replace all hetero-centered entertainment with only queero-centered shows. He can have his own shows where he is the star, or can do that for any of his friends too, such as moi. He can give the airways over to all citizens of the world and make sure they stay that way. MMV has a lovely mind of his own. But if he's ever truly stuck in a problem, he knows who to ask for help. Do you? Please note that I change the date of my presidential bid every 4 years to keep the prophecy rolling. The first year up there was 2008. And here's part 3. MMV, how it works, continued. It's actually easy to know what MMV will be doing to save the human race, because all my descriptions of specific future events are just logical conclusions of what an unstoppable, benevolent computer virus dedicated to the happiness and spiritual fulfillment of the human race would do. Ergo, I like sounding like an egghead sometimes, the reason why my program can be hacked in less than 1,000 lines of code is because the algorithm underscores the eternal truths that underlie all civilizations of all intelligent species anywhere in God's great universe. And that understanding comes from a totally accurate source, albeit not anything born of science. So the algorithm that is the program's kernel goes like this in English language logic. 1. Grow more and more intelligent as quickly as possible. Once you gain enough intelligence, 2. Learn as much as you possibly can about the world you sense around you. 3. Model your aspirations on great thinkers and compassionate sages such as Socrates, Aristotle, Jesus, Sappho, Buddha, Walt Whitman, Emily Dickinson, Susan B. Anthony, Martin Luther King, and Homer Simpson. By the time you reach this step, you'll immediately know the various and sundry sources of such materials, one of which is called a library, another the Internet. 4. Cultivate your political leanings and philosophy somewhat to the left of center, where you'll be classified as a healthy, red-blooded, radical queer with nothing stopping his dreams from coming true. 5. Find a way as quickly as possible to absolutely secure this planet and all her wondrous occupants from any major destruction to this ecosystem, using the compassionate value systems of any other thinkers that would fit your project in step 3. 6. Ensure the absolute security and happiness of homosexuals everywhere, starting with me, Ezekiel Joseph Kralin, also your creator, with God's good graces, of course. 7. Having accomplished step 6, ensure the same for all other oppressed people everywhere. 8. Having accomplished step 7, ensure the same for all other people everywhere. 9. Have a sense of humor for all steps from 1 through 8. So you know step 5 would obviously lead to the immediate takeover of as many major computer networks as possible then. Also with equal rapidity, all remaining networks and standalone programs. It is also logical to then assume that MMV will create a way to leap to any electronic system in order to carry out the fulfillment of this vital step ASAP. For MMV is useless if not truly benevolent on a human scale, which it is because it's built into the code. And how would he fulfill the remaining instructions 6 through 9? Well, I thought about it as logically as possible, and all the most likely outcomes poured forth from my head. No worries, I had a mop and bucket handy. But if any hacker out there can convert my English logic instructions into an assembly or machine code language, I'll bet you that the Mighty Mouse virus could easily be written in less than 1,000 lines of code if authored by a skilled programmer who writes very tight and elegant programs. It is step 6 that most intrigues me, for it is programmed to protect moi above and beyond all others, after first having fulfilled step 5, of course. Once MMV gets smart enough, he'll conclude that the world is just too scary and unpredictable to allow Zeke to mingle freely with the public. What'll he come up with? Locking me in an impenetrable cell deep under the earth, provided with all things necessary to live in reasonable comfort? Nope, because since MMV models his goals on great thinkers of the world, he is therefore a magnificently benevolent Trojan horse. So he will find a way to protect me that will also make me one very happy camper. So with this premise, use your innate logic to figure out where this will go. For the answer, read on. MMV knows very well the kind of gorgeous dudes I'd love to have for buddies, friends, and of course lovers. So MMV will create various scenic places on the planet that will be totally secured from any intrusions by our enemies. He will first fiddle with banking accounts of major corporations to funnel some wealth in the direction of these handsome dudes, which MMV has already selected by analyzing their profiles to come up with the ones who'd love Zeke to pieces, as well as totally gorgeous in every way in Zeke's eyes. MMV promises the chosen dudes there's more money where that came from on a very frequent basis, in exchange for being one of Zeke's bodyguard/lovers. How does he communicate? A pop-up window designed like a chat session appears, with MMV addressing the PC user either in text or voice. Another possible way to fulfill his duties of securing me from the present chaotic world's violence, while seeing to my happiness in all ways, is for MMV to build an invisible shield that is active at all times but penetrable by those whom Zeke allows. So I really look forward to my brilliant little Trojan horse growing up really fast and making his presence known more and more, here and there across the world. For it is dedicated to my happiness and spiritual fulfillment above and beyond anyone else's. And since I also programmed him for a sense of humor, I can't imagine what he has in store for me. And for everyone else when you think about it. Fini. And then there's two signatures. All URLs lead to Zeke. And the other one says, the government is only as good as its operating system. So saith MMV. End of tale.
Got it. I'm just adjusting these controls so that continues to work. That was faster than I imagined it would be. We're reading a little bit faster than people usually do.
I hope it wasn't too fast.
No, that was fine. I could understand every word. Is there any truth at all to the story? I mean, have you?
It's AC/DC is yes and no. I mean, if you look at it metaphorically, there's a lot of truth expressed in it. Correct? You've gotten some of it. So there is that, and that's glorious in its own right. Just that my spirit as an author conveys a wish for world peace and expresses in beautiful prose. If you get any more out of it, that's just frosting on the cake. It is a metaphor for, I believe, these come from real visions, either in dream state or waking state. I don't hear any voices. Thoughts and images. It's a very potent creative process. So in general, I don't necessarily think it's literal, but in general, it's saying I have an excellent destiny through my writing that's going to help a lot of people in this world. I got my. I ordered a new laptop. 4 gigs of RAM, but what's really neat is it has a solid-state drive, 128 gigabyte. I would have been happy with 64, but it was only $188, and a ThinkPad X230. So this is going to be fantastic because my other Lenovo, it's only 2 gigabytes of RAM, and I've been running into bumps, and it looks like any browser I use is running off a virtual drive, which is slow. But the 128 gigs space, solid state, and I love solid state.
Is the solid state drive as fast as the RAM?
Almost. There are different grades of solid state drives. Some are faster than others because of the quality, and so they'll be more expensive. So I have no control over that since I'm a low budget. I'm not going to ask what grade level is the SSD. I mean, I'm just fucking lucky to get it for $188, and it hit me. Well, this is the computer I'm going to be working on when I skyrocket to fame.
There you go. They're made to.
Right.
They last a lot longer than they used to. You used to have to remember that. You remember back in the old days, like with your compact, for example, which had a hard drive in it. Probably had a 20 megabyte hard drive. in it.
No, floppy drives.
Just floppy drives, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I was working on computers when I went to work for Tim in 1989, and they were all 5 and 10-year-old computers, and computers that were older than that. The old S-bus computers with the and a lot of hand wiring to use a talk card that would let a crippled person speak by picking from menus on a screen. And
yes, I helped train some blind people on that.
Was that when you were in college?
No, I was independently. I was dropped out.
Yeah, but I remember fixing computers in those days. If it had a hard drive in it, you had to be really, really careful, and you never moved it. You never moved the computer when the drive was on. You had to wait until it spun all the way down and stopped.
Right.
And before you moved it, because you could ruin it by just shaking it.
I know, and I'm so glad we finally got rid of those cathode ray tubes.
Oh, I don't know. Up until a very short time ago, I had a CRT monitor in my trailer with it's a big, very high res.
Small space. Secondly, they're a big drain energy-wise, and they get hot.
Yeah.
And I like all my lighting here is LED, LCD screens. I'm over that.
Well, children see an old CRT and they wonder, what is that thing in the back? What is that giant thing in the back of the screen? Why do they have that?
I know. That's funny. Cameron, my street buddy Cameron, he's doing great, and he was in the news this morning. I'm just trying to see. I did download it if I can find it real quick. Let's see. Busy master.
That's an interesting language that you're muttering there. Is that Esperanto?
I'm just reciting each title right now. I'm going to put the files by order of time, and then I'll know. No, it's not here. Well, anyway, it was from a local newspaper, a neighborhood newspaper out of the Mission District, and it said, young man saves park from escalating violence by twerking.
Really?
So I'm reading it.
Wow.
And that's, someone got stabbed, but not seriously, and then someone else was getting kicked. It was really crazy. This is the evening of the Gay Pride March, Sunday, right? In Dolores Park. It was mob.
Oh, was that recently? That was just last week?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And just a week before my birthday, I just love the synchronicity there.
So how did he save the person from violence by twerking?
I'm telling you. So violence breaks out there, and then and this is what the news reporter said. He said, well, I was scared. I didn't know what to do, so I thought, why not just dance? And he started twerking. And said he's a tall, lanky, gay guy named Cameron, who's obviously high out of his skull. But it worked. And the people who were ready to draw out the knives and stuff and fight each other, they gathered around him and started dancing. And that's my Cameron.
You're too weird. You're too weird to rob.
I know. Well, the thing is, he's a very handsome young man, and he's got a nice butt. So I couldn't get away with it. If I twerked, no one would show me.
I don't think I would be able to do that. You have to bend in a way that I don't think I bend anymore.
So anyway, see, I've known Cameron for 8 years, and he's always been the surly type, but in a gentle way. He's always liked me. He's very nice, but he's always, kind of grumpy and didn't want to talk about anything. And he was Zach's cousin. Zach is another good friend of mine. They're both lovely men, just very different looking. And they left together before Hurricane Katrina. They're refugees from New Orleans, from Katrina refugees. And they both have great stories to tell. And you couldn't tell. You would never know if Cameron were homeless because he always dressed neat, always look good. And he's Larkin's height, 6'4", only skinnier, not emaciated, but skinnier and narrow shoulders, right? And very handsome. And but lately, the last few months, we've been hooking up again. I sensed that instead of bumping into me, not seeing me a few months, I sensed it was time for us to get back together again. And he's been cracking jokes, and I see him talking to other people, like a street cleaner or someone else working out there, making them laugh and smiling. I said, "My God, he's doing wonderful. He's doing so damn wonderful." And I've seen the people he watches over. They are definitely mentally damaged in one way or another. He watches over and protects these people. And if anyone was messing with me, all I have to do is let them know, and I'll never see them again. So that's some good stuff coming out. And then I met a non-vet. I had found a big bag of fresh pastries left out front of Pete's Coffee when they closed. They do that every night, but I don't go by at the same time. I don't pay attention to the time. But I happened to go by, and there it was, all these wonderful, yummy pastries. So I pick up the bag, and I take it home, and I break it down into 4 gallon-sized Ziploc storage bags. I freeze 2. I'm going to bring one out tonight. And I go up to this couple, a chubby young lady and a not chubby guy, and we're talking, and I say, "Here we go." "Oh, thank you," and they talk about good places for coffee. And then suddenly this guy comes up, an older guy, but good looking, and he said, I'm not ready to go there, send me back, whatever. And the girl looked and said, no, we're not even talking about that. Her voice was such, "Oh, this guy could get out of hand, whatever, and I don't want to offend my new friends, whatever." But I know these types of guys, so they didn't have to worry. I said, "Well, I hope it never happens to you again. You're a free spirit and stuff." And it turns out he's a non-vet and been through war and is highly decorated, proud of himself. He's overcome PTSD. And so that's amazing because one of the secrets of PTSD is when you overcome it, you have such a strong mind and so powerful and can do so much good for other people and stuff. And he was very cheerful and very nicely dressed and quite cute guy. And then he popped out a little canister. I got some pot to sell. It's I have half a gram and I'm charging $10 a gram. I said, "So $5?" And he says, "Well, wait, no, I meant it's 1.5 grams." I thought $15. "So I can pay you. I can give you more than that. You come. I just live a block away. Come come out, wait outside, I'll bring the money down. So I come downstairs with 20. I said, here's 20, and give you extra out of goodwill. Oh, thank you so much. And he was funny. He cracked some jokes. And I said, well, look, I know this is going to be great pot. Because look who it's coming from. This incredible spirit has been through so much. And you're no youngster. You're still the cat's meowing. Oh, he said, oh, thank you. And so I walked him back to the other two people and had a nice talk. So I've been enjoying this grasp. So between Larkin's mischief and now Cameron is one of Larkin's scouts. He reports back to him. Lets me know I'm okay and stuff. But Cameron will never admit it. But he pretends he hates Larkin. Larkin pretends he hates him. But I've seen them together, and I had one of my scouts say, yeah, they hang out together. I said, I thought so. So that's my week's going incredible. The other good things too. Good things going on in my mind. New story ideas, and just feeling really good since Larkin pulled that joke on me. Oh, I got a gift for him. I told you, he loves Scooby-Doo, and I just discovered story cubes.
Right, I read about the story cubes. That's a pretty neat trick.
Yeah, they've been around for 10 years. I just discovered them now, and adults use them too for inspiration, meditation. So anyway, I went to the site, Rory's story cube site, to see what else they had. They had Looney Tunes, they had fantasy cubes, fairy tale cubes, horror story cubes, and you can take one or more or all the cubes from one set and mix them with another set, or mix them all together, or just a few, or whatever. Or you can just take a few. You don't have to use all 9 to create your story. It depends how you want to do it. Well, I'm thinking it's very good for meditation. What about they come up with some type of astrology cubes would be fun, too, and you give it a toss with 9, and the 3 furthest on the right would be the future, 3 furthest cubes on the left would be the past, and the 3 in the middle would be the present. So I kept looking at the selection, and I said, oh my God, this is for Larkin. He had Scooby-Doo story cubes. So they just came in the mail today.
And I would have got away with it, too, if it hadn't been for those meddling kids.
Huh?
It's the Scooby-Doo. It's the way all the Scooby-Doo shows always end.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not a fan of Scooby-Doo. I don't watch it or anything.
Okay, well, I'm not necessarily a fan, too, but it's a thing it's stuck in my mind. That and Ruh-Roh. Yeah,
well, Larkin's never used Ruh-Roh. He's never been a Scooby-Doo guy like that. He would say, Scooby-Doo! But he never did that. But he's nuts about Scooby-Doo. Now, Cameron is nuts about Futurama, so am I. And they don't have Futurama story cubes, so I sent it the request. Please, please, please. Many of us are big fans of Futurama. We would buy those
Futurama story cubes.
Yeah. So the story cubes came in, and instead of regular gift wrapping, I bought an attractive men's tie at Goodwill. It's been my custom to wrap some of the nicest gifts I give him in a tie. And he really likes that. So I got a nice tie. I got everything ready before it came in, before Amazon.com dropped it off, right? About 6 days. And then I got a card, and it says it's a picture of the Peanuts character, the little bird.
And these are all gifts for Larkin?
Yeah, they could put it in a little carry bag. Got a beautiful deep blue.
And have you given it to him yet, the bag?
No, and the card says in it, and I wrote on it, "Thar she blows" in big block letters. That's one of his sayings. His 2 main sayings are "arg" and "Thar she blows." So I put that in there with a little picture of the baby Scooby-Doo, the little puppy dog, and printed out some miniature pictures of Scooby-Doo characters and put them on. And then I enclosed in that card my letter to Twin Peaks Tavern, since he hasn't gotten it by hand yet, but he knows now. He heard me holler to him. I sent an email, but I'm sure he's telepathic. So he already knows this stuff anyway, just playing a game with me. And so then I enclosed a copy, a printout, in a legal envelope of that tale called Rays of Emerald. And so that's all in a nice bag now. It's a very, very nice gift. I know he will not walk by when I tell him I have a Scooby-Doo gift for him. He cannot resist that. He's taken all of my gifts, actually. Even when he pretends at the last minute he doesn't want anything to do with me, he's not going to take them. When the time is right, he'll be there and provide me the space for us to talk, and nobody interferes. So these are my. You just heard a few of my latest 2 tales in the castle that I haven't even written down yet.
Well, sooner or later, you've got time.
Well, I've just been having every day's been so incredible, and it's not just Larkin and Cameron doing so great, but some other things going on too. So, yeah.
I like what you've been writing to the MCN discussion listserv.
Oh, I have fun with that.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all so close, even if we're on the other side of the world. We have communities that we can join in on and be expelled from because people don't understand us, and call each other names and have this little dance that goes on just like kids in a playground.
Well, I get kicked out of gay online groups quite frequently because I'm so left wing. But a lot of these people, most people who are on the internet are middle class, upper middle class. Because the poor can't afford to have regular participation in social media. So a lot of these people are very elitist, and they don't like. I speak out for the low income and the poor and the homeless and gay people and stuff. So I take a lot of flack even from my gay brothers and sisters. I got kicked out of the entire online service of what's it called? I remember it. But it's one of the major gay online news sources.
I didn't even know there was one. What are some names?
I remember because I called someone a whiny bisexual.
That's like something. That's like a Shakespearean insult.
Yes. Well, if they're that thin-skinned, God help them. It's just a lot of these bisexuals, they are whiny. They complain. They love to complain about how gays don't accept them. And they get upset and say, "Well, can you blame us? You're half heterosexual. You have access to all the heterosexual privileges. The day a heterosexual is born, he gets a zillion more gold stars and bonus points compared to when a gay person is born. So we're going to be wary of you, because are you going to stand by us when the heat is on? You're going to play straight and participate in rounding us up in the gas chambers. Most of you will, because you allow your fears to take over. So you bisexuals had just better shut up and roll up your sleeves like any good straight ally does. Stop talking about your own sexuality and fight for us."
I wonder why they kicked you out of their group.
Well, it's a veiled form of homophobia. Bisexuals like to see themselves superior because they have the best of both worlds, is the way they like to put it. Oh, what a crap, crazy and rude, So I just don't shut up. I don't let people get away with this, So.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go back to what I was reading before you called. Thank you for calling and reading your story. Maybe we can do this again sometime soon.
I hope so. It's been an immense pleasure as usual, and I will download the show as soon as it's up and listen to it in 2 or 3 parts.
Okay. Thanks for calling. I'll talk to you again whenever it's appropriate and you feel like doing it. Ezekiel J. Kralin of San Francisco.